Hello and thank you for joining me. Hope you're all well. Today's video is all about the humble wristwatch and its many uses, and near the end of the video we'll be covering navigation in an urban environment. Stay with me. The humble wristwatch, something that's in decline now. I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, pretty much everyone wore one. And with the advent of mobile phones, people have decided that that will tell them the time and that there's no real reason to wear one. The problem is mobile phones, they do more and more nowadays, and as a consequence of that, the ability for them to actually work over a long period of time has been reduced. Yeah, mobile phones, what are you looking at? A day's use before you need to recharge it. So if you've got issues, if there's problems or dramas and you can't recharge your phone, you also really lost the opportunity or a means to actually tell what the time is. And I know there's loads of people going to be saying, oh, does it really matter? You know, if shit hits the fan, we'll go to sleep when it gets dark, we'll get up when it's light. Well, there are reasons that you need to know what the time is. It could be that you're using chemicals to purify your water, or when I say purify, you know, make it suitable for drinking. There's times, Puritabs, 30 minutes. Yeah, if you're using iodine tablets, iodine drops, whatever, there is a time period that you have to observe before you can drink that water. How are you going to know if you've got no means, you've got no watch or no means of telling the time, how are you going to know when 30 minutes has elapsed? It's going to be very difficult, isn't it? If you drink it too soon, then potentially you're going to get poorly. Yeah, so again, it's a wristwatch. It could be that you're operating on comms, yeah, you're on radios, you want to keep in contact with members of your party, and I don't know, your comms rule of 3, yeah, you're going to transmit every 3 hours on channel 3 for a period of 3 minutes. I did a video on that. How are you going to know at what time to expect that call to come in? So wristwatches, yeah, it should be an essential EDC item. Don't rely on your mobile phone. Don't really rely on these so-called smartwatches unless you're spending megabucks. How reliable are they? How frequently do you have to charge them up? When you can buy something, yeah, this one's a Casio G-Shock. Okay, so it's a few quid's worth. It's got a 10-year guarantee on the battery, for instance. Yeah, so it's something that I don't have to worry about. I put it on, you forget it's there, I know what the time is at any given time. They're fairly robust, they take a pounding, unlike a mobile phone. Yeah, so wristwatch. They're in decline, but you should have one. Likewise, battery operated alarm clocks, yeah, should be in your sheltering home kit. If the grid goes down, and you've got no means of knowing what the time is, a small travel clock that runs off a battery, you know, a single AA battery, something like that, will keep you informed. At least you'll know what the time is. So I'm just putting that out there. And that's going to lead on to methods of navigation, primarily in an urban environment. So you can use your wristwatch if it's analog or digital. The analog's slightly easier, and this is going to be for northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you have to basically just reverse, yeah, your findings. That will make sense in a moment. So basically you keep your watch in a horizontal position and you point the hour hand at the sun. Then you look at where the 12 o'clock position is, and if you go between your hour hand and the 12 o'clock position, that is roughly pointing south. So that will give you a cardinal direction of south. From there it's quite easy to then go opposite to that will be north, yeah, to the right of it will be east, etc, etc. As I said, if you're in the southern hemisphere, you do exactly the same, but between the 12 o'clock and wherever your hour hand is pointing, that will be north. So just remember that, don't get them back to front or you'll cause yourself all sorts of dramas. If you're wearing a digital watch, you've got no hands, but you can look at your watch. If I look at it now, it's 11:46, yeah? So I know in my head where 11 o'clock is if I superimposed an analog watch over the top of my digital watch. I know where 11 o'clock is. I can then point that to the sun, and in between that point and where 12 would be would give me south, yeah, and then directly opposite that north, etc, etc. So that's one way to roughly navigate, providing you've got sunlight. Although these are in decline as well, but a good old satellite dish, yeah, Sky TV satellite dish from about, I don't know, 1990s onwards. Pretty much every other house had one screwed to the wall. As things have changed and it's gone over to broadband based entertainment, a lot of people haven't removed their dishes because it's a pain in the bum. You've got to go up a ladder and obviously remove it. In the UK, all satellite dishes are aimed, so that's the LMB, it's the pointy bit at the end of the dish, are pointed in a southeasterly direction. So if you're unsure, look for those satellite dishes, look where they're pointing, and that is roughly southeast. In the States, they point roughly to the south. So that's quite a good indicator just to give you a cardinal direction. The other thing, especially in the UK, it will be the same in other countries, but Christian churches, they are actually built and placed in a west to east direction, yeah? So the entrance, the main facade and the entrance of a church, a Christian church in the UK, is going to be facing west, because the altar is always facing east, and that is usually 9.99 times at the opposite end of the main entrance. Yeah, so that's east, the entrance is west. So that's worth remembering. Another thing, if you're in a, I don't know, you've been abducted and you wake up in a city and you don't know what's happening and you don't want to talk to anyone, I don't know, I'm just putting that out there. But another thing that you can do that can be quite useful is actually look at the direction that people are travelling in. And I don't mean one or two people, because they can be going absolutely anywhere. But if it's in the late afternoon, yeah, near knocking off time, sort of 4 to 6 o'clock, that's when the majority of people are going home. They're leaving work and going home. Those that don't drive are going to be making their way towards a transport hub, be it underground station, main bus station, something like that. So that main group of people, follow them, chances are you're going to land up at a transport hub. Likewise, if it's in the morning, yeah, rush hour time, go in the opposite direction to them, because they will be moving from a transport hub to their place of work. You go in the opposite direction will help navigate you to a transport hub. In the UK, prevailing wind is usually southwesterly. That means that buildings, yeah, the side of the building that is southwesterly will be the most weathered. So if you get your eye in and start looking, just in your normal day-to-day business, you will start to pick out these things. And again, whilst it's not foolproof, it will give you an indication, yeah, that southwesterly prevailing wind will weather part of a building more than another part. There is the old one about moss growing on the north side of trees. Whilst it's not 100%, it is still a fairly good indicator, because moss likes to grow out of the sunlight, yeah, so it will be on the opposite side to where the sun is, so it's more likely to be facing in a northerly or that sort of general direction. And also, if it's in the summertime, yeah, a lot of plants and trees, there will be more growth. Plants have a tendency to face the east where the sun comes up, or between east and south where they're going to get maximum sunlight. So flowers, plants that have got a flower head on them, are generally pointing towards the sun, and that will give you an indication, as I say, that that is somewhere really east to south direction. Likewise, trees, there will be more growth on the side that gets the most amount of sun than there will be on the side that gets limited sunlight. Anyway, that's it, short and sweet. If you found the video of use, then please give us a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, then please do hit the subscribe button, and as always, I'd love to read your comments. Have a great day. It's going to be 32 Celsius today. I'm already sweating my cobblers off, but it's something to smile about. See you soon.